word to wise. Grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're going to be talking about Hellions, number 16 by Zeb Wells and Steven Segovia. And in this video, what we're going to be discussing is the fallout from Hellions number 15 when Empath manipulated Havok into using the full force of his powers to destroy Sinister's secret cloning facility inside of Murder World, and how that act not only affects the futures of Havok and Psylocke, but more importantly, how it affects the Hellions as a whole, and exactly why Emma Frost is at the heart of it. Not only that, we're also going to get some insight into the relationship between Nanny and Orphan Maker, and how it's even further devolving into a dysfunctional family. And even more importantly, we're going to look a little bit more into Nanny's history with the right. We're going to talk about all this and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I post new videos throughout the week and live stream every Saturday. Also, if you enjoy the video, I humbly ask that you Hulk smash that like button and share it all over the internet with all your friends because it really helps the channel out. That said, let's talk about Hellions number 16. So I've always kind of buried the lead a little bit talking about Havok destroying the secret clone facility on Murder World. And of course, we know that Emma Frost is the one who put Empath up to this. But the really interesting part here is how quickly the team falls apart once all this happens. Right now, everyone feels betrayed, confused, Quanon more than probably anybody else, something that actually leads to her deciding to leave the team, to walk away not just from the Hellions, but from Krakoa itself, because at the end of the day, yes, she has taken on this new role as a captain, and initially I thought, well, maybe this takes place before that and she has decided to hang around, but it's actually not the case. Her decision to leave Krakoa takes place after the events of Inferno number 1, which also means this takes place after the events of Trial of Magneto. Point of the matter is, Quanon no longer wants to be around for this. She wants blood and she wants death. Not only does she want the death of others, but she's even kind of hoping to die herself in her pursuit of vengeance, even if it's against someone who isn't Havok or even Sinister for that matter. Right now, this is all callback to the very first issue of Hellions number 1 when Cyclops approached Quanon about the prospect of infiltrating Sinister's Hellions and keeping an eye on his brother Havok. And now with everything that has happened, with everything that has been done, even though Havok was an unwilling participant in this, Quanon doesn't even necessarily so much blame Havok as she does Empath or Emma Frost for that matter. And the thing is, she doesn't even really seem to blame them. I mean, yes, she's angry and she probably does want to take out the Quiet Council. But at the end of it all, what she wanted more than anything else was to get her daughter back, and Sinister was the only one who had the key to giving that back to her. Quanon wants out, and she kind of feels almost as if she was put in an impossible situation because, as she even points out, that she was asked to help keep the Hellions in check, to help keep an eye on Havok, but she wished that when she took on this job that she knew the Quiet Council had other plans. And this is a direct reference to what is going on with Emma Frost, and that Emma Frost was basically using Empath as a way to also keep tabs on the Hellions, no different than what Cyclops was doing with Quanon. Speaking of Emma Frost, we can actually talk about her a little bit because she actually directly ties into what's going on with Havok. Now, Havok, he feels awful because he knows what he did. He knows that he basically took away the one thing in this world that Quanon was latching on to. It runs a huge parallel to what Havok is dealing with himself. He's dealing with the fact that he can't have the love of his life, Madeline Pryor, back because after she died, the Quiet Council chose to not resurrect her because of, some arbitrary reason of her being a clone. But we all know that it has probably a lot more to do with the fact that Jean Grey and Cyclops, especially Cyclops, does not want her around right now. And it probably even has a little more to do with Jean as well, considering Madeline Pryor is a clone of Jean Grey. But that's a whole other story altogether. Emma has known for quite some time that Sinister is up to something, and she's wanted to put a stop to it for quite a while now, and this was her way of doing so. She realized that Sinister was making those clones, and we learned in this issue that there was not just the one clone, the one chimera that Sinister had made. There were multiple different chimeras, all seemingly identical versions of the one that we saw in Hellions number 15, and he was planning to unleash those, probably not right now, but whenever it suited him. And with the destruction of Sinister's clone farm and the realization of what Sinister is up to and everything else that's going on right now, the Hellions are finished, and Havok gets what he wanted all this time. The fact that he never wanted to be a part of the team, and now he gets to get out, but this, as he puts it, was not the way he actually wanted to get out. He feels guilty. He now feels like he has inflicted his pain on someone else, and admittedly, he seems to forget about all this at the first sign that he's gonna get his love, Madeline Pryor, back. The fact that Emma is actually hinting at the fact that she's going to broach the subject with the Quiet Council to try and see if she can get them to maybe change their opinion on Madeline Pryor, something that is, well, we all know is probably gonna happen, because not only have we seen this in the solicits for Hellions number 18, but we have also seen this in the pages of New Mutants number 21, where the Five revealed that people like Madeline Pryor, people who are clones of other individuals, they are so divergent from the people they are clones of that they are considered individuals in their own right. They have backups in Cerebro, therefore they count as an individual and are eligible to be resurrected. The real point of contention here is whether or not the Quiet Council will allow her to come back. I mean, once again, she is an X-Men villain. However, she is not the most dangerous mutant that has ever walked the earth. Not to mention, there are other mutants walking the island who have done far worse than what Madeline Pryor has. All that aside, that does get Havok to kind of forget about the pain and suffering that he caused Quanon, but there's also another thing to discuss here, the fact that the character Empath, he has been a plant this entire time for Emma Frost, and he has, as one would imagine if you've been keeping up with Hellions thus far, Empath has no regrets whatsoever about what he's done. He pretends to at first, but it's all just a ruse. He's just screwing around. But part of me wonders if somewhere deep down, does he feel some kind of regret for what he's done? Emma even points out that, yeah, she knew she could count on this guy because basically he doesn't care about anybody but himself. The only regret he seems to show openly to anyone is that he knows that for what he's done, Grey Crow is going to want to kill him, and he's not wrong about that. Grey Crow has let it be known from the moment that the explosion had subsided that he is going to kill Empath. He is making no secret about it whatsoever, because not only did he nearly kill all of them, but Grey Crow made Empath a promise, one that goes back to Hellions number 2, and it even kind of ties back to Ten of Swords, that Empath has used his abilities on Grey Crow and others around him, and he made him a promise that if he ever used his abilities to manipulate himself or any of the other Hellions, that he'd kill him. And that's exactly what he did. He did it blatantly in front of everybody, manipulating Havok into using the full force of his powers, and even worse yet, this event directly hurt the woman that Grey Crow loves, and that's Quanon, and he won't stand by it. Regardless of how awkward or unstated the feelings between him and Quanon are, he cares about her, and the fact that she's hurting, it hurts him. So he wants to hurt Empath, even going as far as to talking about how he's going to not only kill Empath, but destroy his backup in Cerebro, even if it means destroying all other backups. All in all, the only thing that Empath really seems to care about on the surface level is the fact that Grey Crow wants to kill him and he wants to hide out, until this whole thing blows over, if it ever would. But the truth of the matter is, I think Empath actually does feel something a little bit deeper than what he's admitting. I think he actually hates the fact that the Hellions are done, that his family, the people who actually accepted him for who he was, that's no longer a thing anymore. We notice that when Emma leaves him to his own devices, he kind of laughs it off and, in his normal flippant manner, acting as if nothing affects him whatsoever. But when he's left alone, we notice that his brow begins to furrow and he does seem like he's unhappy. Now, of course, if you are not familiar with the character Empath, the reason why this is a big deal is because, for all intents and purposes, Empath is a sociopath. This isn't some kind of a personality disorder that he was born with, or even anything that's directly related to any kind of PTSD or any other type of stimuli. This is a direct result of his mutant power. He is this way because of his X gene. His power allows him to basically make people do whatever he wants, and he's never really been sure whether or not anyone's ever had an actual genuine reaction to him or anything that he's ever wanted, so it's kind of bred him into this. This is why this is kind of a big deal, the fact that he's actually feeling something, and the Hellions experiment to others may have seemed like an abject failure from the very start, in the eyes of the Quiet Council, even though yes, technically the Hellions did uncover Sinister's secret plans, but in the end, I think it might have actually done Empath some good, even if it was only a little bit. All in all, Emma has a huge part to play in this for a character who hasn't featured very much within the pages of Hellions itself. However, yeah, she's been playing a big role in a lot of this, and while what she has done isn't necessarily the worst thing on earth, probably the worst possible part of this is that she's directly harmed Quanon. However, she has done no worse than the character Beast. All in all, the thing that really kind of struck me as interesting is we actually get a callback in this issue to the Right, which is a group that has been around for quite some time in the Marvel Comics universe, dating all the way back to the 1980s, but we really haven't seen much of them up until recently in the pages of Hellions when we noticed that they were going after Nanny. And the reason why, if some of you aren't familiar, is this is actually stuff that dates all the way back to the pages of X Factor number 30 and even up to X Factor number 40 back in 1988 up to 1989. Some of you may or may not be familiar with the fact that Nanny used to be a member of the Right, but she left that organization when she realized that they had an anti-mutant agenda, something that, well, her being a mutant directly affected her. She had contributed so much to what the Right was doing. She was a major component of their organization, and her work, she realized, would be used against her own kind, so she tried to stop that, but that didn't happen. Now, another thing I do want to point out here is the fact that in this comic, we actually learn Nanny's real name, her human name. This is a name that has never been uttered before, as far as I can tell, not as far as I remember, and it's really the first time we've heard anyone ever call her by anything other than Nanny. The character Dr. Murch, and it's to be assumed that because he does mention that they were never officially divorced, so it's very likely that, unless she was a progressive woman in her time, her real name is Eleanor Murch. All that aside, we're learning a lot about Nanny's past. They're actually delving into more of what was going on with her because we've never really known the full story. All we've known is that she tried to leave the Right when she learned the true nature of what they planned to do with her contributions and how they were going to affect mutants. And of course, we learn in this that Dr. Murch, not only is he going to take away the Smiley hybrid baby that Nanny has been taking care of in secret on Krakoa, but he's also going to take control of Nanny's ship and plunge it into the nursery on Krakoa where the mutant babies are kept. There's a lot of history here between Nanny and the Right, and more specifically, Dr. Murch. The Right did terrible things to Nanny and put her inside of the cyborg egg that has kind of been known to be her costume. It's not something that she did as an aesthetic choice. This is a prison for her, and it's something that she's never been able to escape from, though I do find it interesting that she's died during the events of Ten of Swords, and when she was resurrected, she wasn't resurrected in her normal body. She was resurrected in the very same egg that has been her prison ever since she tried to leave the Right. So I do find that part kind of weird and a little inconsistent, but that's neither here nor there. That's comics for you. The thing is, Nanny's not going to go down without a fight. Just as she tried to so easily take down Sinister earlier in this book, she's also going to make a play to not destroy and harm those children in the nursery, even risking her own life. Murch already has the child. He's taken the Smiley baby away from her, and now she has nothing. She's crashed her ship and nearly killed herself, and the only thing she has left is Orphan Maker, which pisses her off even more because not only has she spurned Orphan Maker prior prior to this, telling him that he's grown and that he doesn't need her anymore and that she has more important things to tend to, like that smiley child. Now, all she has left is Orphan Maker, and she's even more angry that he wasn't there to help her stop this from happening, which, to be fair, is directly her own fault. She ran Orphan Maker away, and now she's mad at him that he wasn't there to protect her and save the child, which honestly, she knows that she's wrong for this. It's even stated at the end of this comic, at least in a roundabout way it is, but now she's unleashed an Orphan Maker who's pissed off and upset, and I have a sneaky suspicion that we're gonna learn very soon what happens when Orphan Maker is not wearing that armor. We've been told that he needs that armor to contain himself, that his power is uncontrollable or is incredibly dangerous in some way, but we don't really know the full extent as to why or how, and I got a sneaky suspicion we're gonna learn that answer very soon. It's something that I've said is probably gonna happen since Hellions #1, but it has yet to occur, and with only 2 issues left of Hellions, I figure if it's gonna happen, it's gotta happen within these next couple of issues, if at all. That said, this comic was awesome. I hate that this series is coming to a close. It upsets me. Granted, it is a planned ending. The book isn't necessarily being canceled. It's a part of the regular rotation that the X-Desk is doing. They're rotating things in and out. It just so happens this happened to be one of them, and who knows, it may even have more to do with the fact that Zeb Wells is taking over Amazing Spider-Man, which also came out this week. So Amazing Spider-Man number 75 that's Zeb Wells right there for you. But man, I don't know. I have questions. One thing I definitely love about what Zeb Wells is doing here with this story is that a lot of the beats, a lot of the things that are being called back to in this series all kind of relate back to about roughly the same time period across all the different characters. And in regards to X Factor, the stuff going on with the Right and Nanny and Orphan Maker, the stuff going on with Madeline Pryor and Havok, all of this is stuff that roughly happened around the same 10 or 12 issues of X Factor back in 1988 and 89. It's like almost a direct sequel to that time period, and I'm kind of here for it. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share it all over the internet with all your friends so that they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to the X-Men spinoff series, Hellions. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about Hellions number 16. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.